WNBA players demand more money, and they are demanding more money from a sports league, losing $40 million each year. They currently have a loss of $500 million from the same WNBA league that they are asking money from. They literally came out with shirts saying, pay us what you owe us, pay your players, but what they don't understand is that they are the ones who needs to pay. All the money they're taking from are from the men's league, and now they're asking for more. This is actually not even funny, it's actually sad. Nate the lawyer made a video about it, so let's go and check it out.
We've all been covering it for nearly 2 decades, but something important.
Pay us what you owe us. Sure, buddy. With a smile on their face, like so entitled.
Fans slammed WNBA stars for protesting their pay after the league posted a $40 million loss last year. Let's talk about it.
Bro. The entitlement, though,
so I know
for
this
real.
topic makes people mad, but we're going to be talking about the WNBA and why the players, even though they want more money, have to understand they're not making any money. CNBC Sports did this total breakdown on why the WNBA isn't profitable.
Like, how hard is it for you to understand that you are not making profit? Everything is documented. Just read the documents and you will realize that you are in loss. You have no entitlement whatsoever to be paid more. Why would anybody pay you more? It's business after all.
As an example, the WNBA has never generated a profit. They've always lost money. The average before last year was about $10 to $20 million a year. And last year alone, they lost $40 million. So let me try to put this in perspective. The WNBA's revenue for 2024 was about $200 million. But their operating expenses, what they needed to survive, came out to about $240 million. That gave them a net loss of $40 million.
In 2024, the WNBA is estimated to bring in $200 million in revenue. Just for comparison, the NBA is expected to earn $13 billion. The WNBA has historically lost around $10 million per season. Some estimates have said that the league is going to lose about $50 million.
Now, if we contrast that with the NBA had about $13 billion in revenue. Their expenses were about $3 billion. So after it all winded down, they had a profit of about $10 billion. Now, out of that $10 billion of profit, the NBA and the NBA players split that money evenly. So the NBA players get $5 billion and the NBA owners get $5 billion. But now
that's fair.
We can't do this same calculation for the WNBA because after all of their operating expenses, they actually have lost $40 million. And in that type of scenario,
so they
if
owe
we
us.
pay the players another $20 million, that now just adds more losses on the other side of the ledger. Now instead of $40 million in losses, we have $60 million in losses. The players have gotten paid more money, but where's that extra $20 million going to come from? And just understanding overall, the WNBA has likely lost over $500 million since it started. Now that's what it took to just keep the WNBA alive. And that's why most female leagues fail, because eventually you just can't continue to dump money in and not get any returns on that investment. Now, with that understanding, the WNBA players are saying they...
Like, if you think about it, like, you are doing a humanitarian work here. You are supporting women's sport by losing money just to, like, keep face. I do have an idea how to save this, but I don't think they will like it.
Want to make the same percentage of revenue as the NBA players make. So let's do that just for fun. The NBA made $13 billion, as we said earlier. $10 billion of that are profit, and the NBA players and owners split that 50-50. NBA players get $5 billion, owners get $5 billion. Now let's do that for the WNBA. They made $200 million in revenue. The operating expense was $240 million. That's a negative $40 million in a hole. And if you split that with the owners 50-50, then the players actually owe the owners $20 million. Now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Nate, that is a ridiculous argument. No one's making that argument. Let me prove to you that yes, the WNBA players are absolutely making that argument.
What's being lost in all that noise is the actual point. So let's unpack what the WNBA wage conversation is about. No, they don't want Steph Curry money. Well, they don't not want Steph Curry money. But that's just because Steph could pay the salary of every woman in the WNBA and still have enough left over to sign Le'Veon Bell. Anyone can make the argument that a younger, smaller, less popular league can't pay the same amount as the NBA. What's harder is arguing they can't pay the same percentage, which is what WNBA players are trying to tell you.
They recognize the difference in how much money each league brings in. But they do want a higher percentage of their league's revenue. Remember, NBA players get about 50% of what the league calls basketball-related income. A Forbes report last year estimated that WNBA players only get about 25% of BRI.
Well, Rachel, 25% is actually saying it too nice. It's actually closer to around 22%.
Yeah, like, and the big conversation about WNBA salaries and all of that's been going on. What is, like, your, from a player and from players in general, like your teammates, what is that opinion and how do you guys handle all those conversations?
We are not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
I mean, it is a huge misconception, but if we are going with a percentage value as well with the revenue, you are owing them money. You will earn even less. Even less. Like, can they do the math?
Got it.
For
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I actually get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue.
So obviously now you know why that can't happen, because the WNBA players within owe the league $20 million if they use the same model that the NBA players are using.
Yeah.
So now with all that, the WNBA players and the owners are negotiating a collective bargaining agreement. Now going into these negotiations, the WNBA just signed a $2.2 billion TV deal with Disney. And this TV deal is going to get them a lot more revenue.
The WNBA reportedly securing a new round of media rights deals with NBC, Amazon, and Disney, the parent company of ABC, worth about $2.2 billion over 11 years, about $200 million a year. This new media package, a massive increase, 6 times bigger than its previous deal.
Now we got to stop.
Okay.
I know what you're thinking. You're like, hey, they're going to get extra $200 million a year. That
Yeah.
solves the problem. That turns that $200 million in revenue automatically to $400 million in revenue every year. And instead of having a $40 million loss, you'll have $160 million in profit. And you could split that between the WNBA players and the owners 50-50. Everybody gets more money. But we have another problem. See, the WNBA was never profitable, as we spoke about earlier. And there were about $500 million, $500 million invested into the WNBA over the 20 to 30 years it's been
So
active.
they
That
need to
money
pay
wasn't
that money.
charity. The people who invested that money into the failing league at the time want that money back. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, even recently, the WNBA sold off more of the WNBA to another outside investment firm for about $75 million. Again, to keep the league alive.
The NBA and its owners would own the WNBA.
It survived because of the great support the NBA has given it over many years. So there's a reason why the WNBA is the longest tenured women's professional sports league in the country. Think about this, by double any other.
WNBA team
They literally have to make sure where it says, please forget what we owe you.
owners received 50% stake in 2002.
sad.
In 2022,
Can't
the
get a
league raised
break.
$75 million from a group of investors, the league's first ever outside investment and the largest in women's sports history. They received 16% stake in return, leaving only 42% left for WNBA and its owners. But this also means only 42% of national-level revenue, like TV and sponsorship deals, trickles down to the WNBA owners. The remaining goes to the NBA and its owners, 5 of which are also WNBA owners, and the outside investor group.
So now we have this $2.2 billion deal that has to be split amongst essentially 4 different entities. First, you have the WNBA players, they get a percentage. Then you have the WNBA owners, they also get a percentage. Along with that, you have the NBA owners who also get a percentage of WNBA revenue because they put in between $250 to $300 million to keep the league going this long. And you have the outside investment group who spent $75 million to get 16% of basketball related revenue. So these are the people who must get paid by the WNBA if it ever generates any revenue. And this is how the percentages are broken down. The WNBA players and owners take 42% of basketball related revenue. The NBA, who put in that $250 to $300 million, they get 42% of basketball related revenue. And those investors who put in $75 million, they get 16% of basketball related revenue. Now, if you split it out, it turns out that the players for the WNBA can only really get a max of 21% of basketball related revenue. And remember, that's in contrast to the NBA players who get 50% of basketball related revenue. Now, on the plus side, the WNBA just signed a new TV rights deal for $2.2 billion over 11 years. So it comes out to about $200 million a year.
Worth about $2.2 billion
without
over
the
11 years.
investors,
about $200 million a year.
Out of that
it wouldn't
$200 million
exist.
TV deal, the players are going to see about $42 million of that money. The owners get another $42 million, the NBA gets its $84 million, and the investors get their $32 million. And that's each year. Now, think about this. The WNBA players right now only get about $16 million a year in salaries combined. All WNBA salaries, when you add them all up, comes out to about $16 million. So now they're going to have another $42 million on top of that they can dole out to the players. So based on the numbers and the structure of the league, the WNBA players should be able to get more money with this next round of collective bargaining. Now, I know for all you math wizards out there, you're going to say, well, Nate, the $200 million is not the full story because the league is losing $40 million a year. So you would have to subtract $40 million from that $200 million number. And we're really talking about $160 million that they would all split. So we're really talking about $33.6 million instead of 42. That should lead to about a 200% increase in salaries for the WNBA players. So if the math is correct, Caitlin Clark, who's making $78,000 a season, with a 206% increase, would raise up to about $238,000 per year.
That's not bad at all.
That's realistically what you're looking to do. You're looking to increase these players' salaries pretty dramatically based on the new environment that you have. So now that you understand it, the WNBA players should make more money based on the new agreements they have coming forward and the money they have coming in from that new $1 billion TV deal. And most people understand if you don't make a profit, then you don't really get a raise because the business is taking a loss. Here are some examples from X. Brady says, when is the last time the WNBA made a profit? Generally asking. Another one says, the league doesn't turn a profit. I guess they're playing for free. So at the end of the day, the WNBA players will make more money. It's just obvious they will, based on the environment. And it's not going to be anything close to what the men make because the men have been profitable since the 70s or 80s. So it's a whole different environment. Now, this seemed pretty simple on the face of it all, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's going to be this horrible negotiation issue with the WNBA Players Association? I think when you break it down clearly, there are certain limits to what they can make. And
they should be.
I feel bad for calling it, but they've been a welfare league. And now that they're making a profit, they have to understand that the people who were paying into their welfare now need to make their money back. And that's what's happening. Those people are going to make their money back, but also are going to share some of that wealth with the players. To the extent of how much, that's where you argue. But those are the numbers, those are the facts. If you disagree, let me know. But at the end of the day, the WNBA players should get more money, deserve to get more money, and the money is there based on the new contracts and agreements. So we'll see how this all plays out. But I'll keep my eye on it because I want to make it very clear. This is a totally different situation than the U.S. Women's Soccer League, which were just straight up lying about how much money they were making and all that stuff. The U.S. Women's Soccer teams, equal pay, that was a scam. That was an outright scam. And the judge and the courts explained exactly how that was an outside scam. Here is that video with 5 million views. Everyone sees how that was a scam.
Oh my God. I actually have to check on that as well.
I think have a better argument because at this point,
because
they
of the
have
deal,
signed that big agreement. They are getting $2.2 billion in more revenue, and their salary should increase based on the new dynamics that are in play.
I mean, they are informed about this new deal and the Disney and Amazon and stuff like that. So I think based on that, they want to earn more. And how he split everything and how he explained everything, it makes complete sense. I hope they are informed enough about this deal and how everything goes so they will be paid more. But to be honest, they will never amount to what men are being paid, and they're not asking for that. They are asking for a percentage, but they need to understand that the percentage is not as high as they think, and they will have to deal with $200,000 a year instead of $70,000 a year compared to the millions that sometimes men earn. But it is what it is. There are ways to make it more profitable. I don't watch WNBA, I don't watch NBA, I don't watch basketball, but listen to the fans and listen what the fans want and need. At the end of the day, the majority of the people who are watching sports are men, and men do want two things. Either you have to perform on the level that men perform, so it is as entertaining to them to watch, or you need to be looking pretty on the eye. So basically what I understand is, or you need to look presentable, pretty, entertaining in a different kind of way, or bring something different for them that they can watch and see and that they cannot get from a male's league. But at least this is my thought and my opinion. I don't know. I don't watch basketball. Let me know if you watch and what you think would save WNBA, that they can start making profit and not have to rely on these sponsors, investors, or owners. Good luck to them. Hopefully they get the percentage that they deserve. But also I hope things can change for the better in the future and we can be a bit more realistic, not entitled and delusional about the percentage of money that we can make out of sport as women.